Have you ever felt the crushing weight of someone else's judgment? You walk into a room and your mind immediately begins to spin. What are they thinking about me? Do they notice my flaws? Are they whispering behind my back? In our hyper-connected modern world, we live under a microscope of our own making. We spend our days seeking the approval of people we don't even like. We curate our lives on social media, desperately waiting for likes and comments to validate our self-worth. We dress to impress strangers, work ourselves to exhaustion to show off our success, and hide our true thoughts to avoid conflict. We have become slaves to the opinions of others. When someone praises us, we feel high. When they criticize us, we crash into despair. A single offhand remark from a coworker can ruin our entire week. This constant worry about what others think is a silent epidemic, causing chronic anxiety, low self-esteem, and a deep sense of alienation. We are losing control of our own minds, allowing strangers, algorithms, and critics to dictate how we feel. We try to wear different masks to fit in, but underneath, we feel empty, fragile, and disconnected. What if there was a way to break these invisible chains? What if the key to absolute freedom and peace of mind was not about changing how others see you, but about changing what you choose to control? 2,000 years ago, a man who owned nothing but a straw bed and a clay lamp unlocked the secret to complete psychological freedom. He was born a slave, physically broken, and eventually exiled by an emperor. Yet, he achieved a state of mind so unshakable that the most powerful men in Rome sought his counsel. His name was Epictetus, and he left behind a masterclass on how to stop caring what people think and reclaim your life. It all starts with a simple but revolutionary rule. Epictetus did not learn his philosophy in a comfortable university. He lived it in the brutal streets of ancient Rome. As the slave of Epictetus, a powerful secretary to the Emperor Nero, Epictetus witnessed the worst of human behavior. He saw wealthy senators trembling with fear before the emperor, selling their dignity for power and destroying their peace of mind for temporary glory. He realized that although he was in physical chains, his master's mind was far more enslaved by fear, greed, and the desire for approval than his own. It was during these years that Epictetus's leg was broken by his master, leaving him with a lifelong limp. Instead of bitterness, Epictetus used his suffering to discover an inner fortress. When he was finally granted his freedom, he dedicated his life to teaching others how to find the same liberty. His lectures, captured by his student Arrian in the Discourses and the Enchiridion, became a guide for survival in a chaotic world. Epictetus taught that we cannot control what happens to us, but we have absolute control over how we respond. At the heart of Epictetus's philosophy lies a single foundational principle known as the Dichotomy of Control. In the very first sentence of the Enchiridion, he writes, "Some things are in our control and others not. Things in our control include our opinion, pursuit, desire, aversion, and, in a word, whatever are our own actions. Things not in our control include our body, property, reputation, command, and, in one word, whatever are not our own actions." Think about how much energy we waste trying to control things in the second category. We stress over our physical health, our wealth, and, most of all, our reputation, what other people think of us. Epictetus warns that if you mistake what is not yours for what is yours, you will be thwarted, you will lament, you will be disturbed, and you will find fault. both with gods and men. But if you focus only on what is truly yours, your own thoughts, intentions, and choices, no one can ever force you or hinder you. You will have no enemy, and no one can harm you. This distinction is the key to breaking your addiction to other people's opinions. When you realize that their thoughts are completely outside of your control, you stop wasting your emotional energy trying to change them. But how do we apply this rule when we face real-world criticism, gossip, and rejection? Let's look at the 4 practical rules Epictetus developed to protect our minds. The first rule is master your desires and accept the present moment. Epictetus observed that our suffering arises when we desire things we do not control or try to avoid things that are inevitable. If you desire that everyone you meet should like you, you are setting yourself up for failure. You cannot control their background, their mood, or their biases. By making their approval your goal, you hand them the key to your happiness. Epictetus writes, if you desire any of the things which are not in your own power, you must necessarily be disappointed. Instead, train your mind to desire only what is in your power, acting with honor, kindness, and integrity in every situation. If someone dislikes you, that is their concern and their choice. It has nothing to do with your character. The second rule is, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In the modern world, we are obsessed with appearing smart, successful, and put together. We want everyone to think we have it all figured out. But Epictetus advises the exact opposite. In chapter 13 of the Enchiridion, he writes, if you wish to make progress, dismiss this kind of reasoning. If I neglect my affairs, I shall have no livelihood. For it is better to die of hunger, exempt from fear and grief, than to live in affluence with perturbation. He goes on to say, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to externals. Do not wish to be thought to know anything. When you stop trying to look important, you free up massive amounts of mental energy to actually become better. You stop pretending, you stop performing, and you start growing. By letting go of the need to look perfect, you strip away the power that critics have over you. They can call you foolish, but their words have no grip on you because you have already accepted that status in the eyes of the world. But what happens when someone directly insults or attacks you? This brings us to Epictetus' third rule. The third rule is view insults as opinions, not injuries. When someone insults us, our natural reaction is to strike back or feel hurt. But Epictetus asks us to analyze what is actually happening. In chapter 20 of the Enchiridion, he writes, remember that it is not he who reviles you or strikes you who insults you, but it is your opinion about these things as being insulting. When then a man irritates you, you must know that it is your own opinion which has irritated you. If someone calls you a liar, and you know you are honest, their words are simply incorrect. Why should you be angry at a mistake? If they call you ugly, it is merely their subjective aesthetic judgment. It does not change your physical reality. The insult only hurts if your own mind agrees with it and turns it into a weapon against yourself. You must refuse to cooperate in your own destruction. The fourth rule is, guard your mind like a precious treasure. Imagine if a stranger came up to you on the street and took control of your physical body, leading you wherever they wanted. You would fight back with all your might. Yet, Epictetus points out that we do this with our minds every single day. He writes, if a person gave your body to any stranger he met on his way, you would certainly be angry. And do you feel no shame in handing over your own mind to be confused and mystified by anyone who happens to verbalize abuse? Every time you let a negative comment, a dirty look, or an online troll ruin your day, you are handing over the keys to your mind. You are letting them choose how you feel. A Stoic guards their mental focus with absolute jealousy, refusing to let anyone disrupt their inner peace. When you adopt these 4 rules, you build an invisible shield around your consciousness. You begin to see the opinions of others not as facts, but as noise. But how do we practice this in our daily interactions, especially when dealing with difficult, rude, or toxic people? Epictetus provides a powerful tool for empathy that helps us diffuse anger and resentment. He reminds us that people only act based on what they believe is right or beneficial for them. In chapter 42 of the Enchiridion, he writes, "When any person does you an injury or speaks ill of you, remember that he acts or speaks from a supposition of its being his duty. Now, it is not possible that he should follow what appears to you, but what appears to himself. If someone cuts you off in traffic or yells at you, they are acting out of their own ignorance, stress, or confusion. They are not doing it to destroy your day. They are simply reacting to their own internal storms. When you realize this, you stop taking their behavior personally. You feel pity for them rather than anger. You think to yourself, it seemed right to him, and you move on with your peace intact." Let us apply this Stoic framework to the digital age. Social media is a machine designed to exploit our desire for approval. We post photos, share opinions, and build virtual identities, all to receive that shot of dopamine from a stranger's thumbs up. But Epictetus would tell us that we are trading our freedom for cheap trinkets. By constant comparison, we cultivate a deep sense of inadequacy. We look at the highlights of others and feel that our lives are dull and worthless. The Stoic solution is to return to the real world. Focus on the quality of your character, the depth of your real-world relationships, and the integrity of your actions. Let your progress be quiet and internal. You do not need to broadcast your virtue to make it real. Epictetus invites us to view ourselves as actors in a grand play. We do not choose the play, our fellow actors, or our role. Some are cast as leaders, others as followers. Some are healthy, others face chronic illness. Our only job is to perform our assigned part with absolute dignity and excellence. When someone criticizes your performance, remember that they are merely judging the character, not your true self. The true self is the actor behind the scenes, untouched by the opinions of the audience. By separating your performance from your identity, you gain the freedom to act with courage and truth, without fear of failure or rejection. To integrate this philosophy into your life, try this daily practice. Every morning, remind yourself of the dichotomy of control. Write down 2 columns on a piece of paper. On the left, list the things you will face today that you cannot control: the weather, traffic, your boss's mood, the feedback on your work, and the opinions of others. On the right, list the things you can control: your attitude, your effort, your kindness, and your reactions. Throughout the day, whenever you feel anxiety or anger rising, ask yourself, which column does this belong to? If it is on the left, let it go. Focus all your power on the right column. This simple habit will slowly rewire your brain, building an unbreakable habit of mental strength. You do not need to go to a cave to find peace. The world will always be full of noise, critics, and difficult people. True freedom is not the absence of judgment, but the mastery of your own response. Epictetus, the slave who conquered his own mind, showed us that no one can ever enslave a soul that knows what to care about. Stop looking for your reflection in the eyes of others. Look within. Master your choices and let the opinions of the world fade into the background. If you want to continue building an unbreakable mind and learning how ancient philosophy can solve modern problems, subscribe to the channel. We post deep dives into Stoicism every single week. Remember, the greatest victory is not over others, but over yourself. Stay stoic.